Paper scripts, yeah, it's paper scripts, and most of my finals are like I have a take-home final for my math class, and then I was like in my football class I got 100 here.
Oh, congratulations! All right, turn this around. All right, so hi everyone, welcome to the last Duke Disability Alliance General Body Meeting. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but I'll just show the agenda on the screen. 1 second for everyone who's joining virtually. And then we can get started. Yeah, so I thought it'd be nice to kind of just start off on a humorous, fun note. I found this video online that I just want everyone in my life to see. It is the best thing ever. Yes. Oh, it gets better. Wait, hold on. Why isn't the sound? Okay. It's really good, and then you hear it with the sound, and it's like even better. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if this works. Okay. Why isn't the sound? Oh man, the sound's not working. But yeah, it's dancing puppy.
Really cute.
Hmm.
I saw a Great Pyrenees dog in a bar the other night.
Yeah.
I was there for like a meeting for this.
Okay, there we go.
Now left foot. Right foot. Now left foot. One hand. Two hands. Hit your rollie. Do your dance. Now lean with it, rock with it. Lean with it, rock with it.
Yep. So that's what I was doing last night. So yeah. Anyway, I'm Deepti. I'm the president of Duke Disability Alliance. I thought it'd be good if we could just go around and do introductions one last time. So, Marianne, do you want to start us off?
Sure, yeah. I'm
Oh, and sorry, one last thing. So introductions, of course, what you're planning to do for winter break. So I'm just going to go home, then study for the GRE, hopefully take it in January. We'll see how that goes.
What subject? Just the general?
Just the general.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm Mary Ricci. I'm the faculty advisor of Duke Disability Alliance, and my winter plans are super boring. I'm going to write an article on the field of disability studies for a journal called The Year's Work in Cultural and Critical Theory. So I'm going to be pulled up with everything that's been published in 2018 in the field of disability studies and be reading those books and then writing about them.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm Michaela, and for break, I get to go home to like Michigan, so like real home, not like where I live, but, like Michigan. So I get to spend time with my family.
Oh, we're in Michigan.
I'm Detroit area.
Oh, okay, so it's like right here.
I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, wait, right. Yeah, Detroit area. So I'm gonna have a white Christmas, hopefully. I'm excited about that. And then I'm just gonna hang out at home, like in Kentucky.
Nice.
I'm Maddie. I'm advocacy chair for DBA, and over the break, I'm going to be spending some time with my family in Chapel Hill, and then probably traveling to the bowl game with Duke football, as part of the marching band.
Oh, nice.
Whatever that may be, we don't know.
Mm.
We figure out today.
Nice.
Wow.
I hope so. Last year was in Detroit
Oh.
on Christmas Day.
Hey, was it a white Christmas at least?
It was.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm Tara Chandershaker. I work at CAPS and also at the Medical Center. I will be here for Christmas. I'm going to be off that week of Christmas and then work the rest of it. And I think my parents are going to come hang out with us, and we'll just hang out at home with the baby and the dog and be relaxing.
Nice. That's great. Yeah, thank you for joining us today. So I thought we could start off with Manish and his internally mapping accessible routes. He's not on the call yet, but once he joins, we can talk to him then. But yeah, Farah, do you want to tell us more about neurodiversity in Duke? I know we've been emailing back and forth, but this is the first time you're here in person, so tell us all about it.
Yeah. So I am chair of a committee called Neurodiversity Connections that we've been in existence for maybe a year and a half, but we've had periods where we haven't been as active, and now I think things are a little bit more active. And it's mostly people from student affairs, CAPS, Duke Reach, Student Health, and then also the Academic Resource Center and the Disability Access Office, Residential Life. So people that kind of interface with students mostly in non-academic ways. And the goal is to really think about how to support students who are neurodiverse. And we've really been more on like awareness work, especially trying to present to faculty or other just groups on campus that teach students or work with students in like kind of a student affairs realm to talk about presence of neurodiversity on campus, what needs it might have. We're also hopefully gonna do a showing of the documentary Autism in Love maybe in February. We're still trying to figure out all the details, and if we can swing bringing the presenter, the filmmaker to campus and do a bigger event, that would be really cool. And we'd love to partner with you guys and it's so accessible and that students because it's really important.
Yeah.
So excited about that. We also have a couple of presentations in early 2019 to the Trinity Advisors and to the Disability Liaison organized by DOC. The show is sort of like monthly lunch and learn type of things.
Yeah.
I'm working on those things. And the last part is trying to have a student group. So last year there was a student who self-identified on the autism spectrum who sort of founded this group, and people met every week and hung out and played board games and did different things. He graduated, so the group was kind of dormant. And then actually yesterday, 4 students met and they seem like it went well and are interested in meeting again.
Oh, what's their group called?
I don't think they really have a name yet. They're
So it's not the same thing as Spectrum.
Correct.
It's
students who are sort of self-identified as neurodiverse, who may be seeking accommodations, maybe not, like, but just people that I've been in contact with, and I've kind of been like, hey, wouldn't it be nice to meet somebody else? And so, and actually went really well. It was beautiful. So hopefully that will continue, and that will be a nice sort of adjunctive thing. And I think from like getting Duke administration on board, there'll be more, I think, on board if they know that there are like students that are needing and wanting things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's been a little bit, I don't know, maybe if you all can give some input or thoughts about this. It's been actually a little bit hard to get people to care.
Yeah.
And or the conversation sort of starts out as being open, and then we get to the nuts and bolts of like, let's do a presentation. Then the ask is, well, why don't you talk about something else, and then kind of throw neurodiversity in. So that's been a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
And I know it's not, we're not the only ones that probably get that, but it'd be helpful. I don't know if that's something that you all can weigh in on too.
So who you've spoken with where it sort of started out being positive and then kind of transformed into maybe
being less
more
excited or just trying to broaden.
We're just hesitant to change or to kind of disrupt anything.
Well, we met with the Trinity Advising Group. And I actually took a while to get the meeting. Like it took probably months. And then it was the people that run the advising, and they were sort of interested, but always the question comes up of, well, how many students is it really? So, which I think kind of means like, is it really worth putting resources into, right?
This is always the direction that it goes. And I think like a big part of that conversation necessarily has to be like, well, is this a good place for students with disabilities to come to?
Yeah.
And like, we kind of have to kind of approach both of those things at the same time. It's like making it more disability inclusive and accessible, and like a place that's known for having disability subculture. But at the same time, like trying to recruit more students with disabilities to come here and have it be sort of part of our like diversity initiatives when it comes to admissions.
Yeah.
So we have a number of ongoing activism projects to address both of those things. The admissions one is kind of just a student project in my class where I've got a group of 4 students working on talking to admissions about this, and they're trying to publish an article about it.
Cool.
All the other projects, one of them is the project to establish a disability cultural center, and that was an idea of this group in a meeting just like this, fall of 2017, and we've been sort of talking about that since then, doing research, what other universities have these disability cultural centers and what's successful about them. And we have a petition going around.
I saw your email.
Okay.
I signed it.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to send it out to the
so you can share that,
Yeah.
and I feel like, and so those students wrote to admin, and they actually got a response from Larry Mineta 2 days ago or 3 days ago, and he said, "Oh, thanks for all this hard work and research. Just, you know," he said it was like, "Thank you for your work, and thank you for like laying out this issue."
Yeah.
And then he said, "I'm not sure a disability cultural center is part of the solution, comma, but it may be." So that's kind of like there's room to work with that, or at least like continue the conversation. So that's something that we could also like let these students know about. And I feel like, is there a critical mass of students with disabilities right now that like identify as such and are willing to like get really involved in that? And it's not as big of a number as we would like, and it's because of all the things that we're constantly talking about.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
it's kind of-
It's a chicken and egg.
Yeah, and so like I feel like 4 students, that's a critical mass. 1 student is a critical mass. We should be like working to make that student's experience better. And part of that is cultivating community. And so, yeah, I mean, it kind of goes, like it goes with academics also, and like having opportunities to talk about these issues in the classroom and having disability studies courses being taught across the curriculum and all kinds of things. I don't know if Maddie, if you want to weigh in on this. Maddie is designing a program too on neuroscience and disability studies, and so she's the one who like sort of knows what coursework is available and what that experience is like. And I don't know if you want to share about that at all.
Yeah. Well, I feel like there's a lot of, I guess, and like I've talked to multiple professors just like asking about their interest in disability studies, and there's a lot of, like, there's definitely a lot of professors that like are marginally interested, and there's some that like delve into it like a bit, and there's also a lot of classes that like go a little into it, but none of it is there's not a lot of classes that really go like super in depth into disability studies. Which is but like I've been able to find enough to like make a program, so I feel like there's definitely enough to work with. So, and there's been like increasing numbers of disability related classes too. I've been like just like going through, like I'm still like going through all the courses and stuff just like to see what new things have come up, and it's like slowly there's like more. Like there was this next semester there's one like medical stories on stage, I think, and
it got canceled.
It got canceled?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna sign up for it, but then
Because
like
there weren't enough students signed up.
yeah, like my program, I like emailed the professor, Jules O'Donnell James, to like and like see if it would be like.
But on the plus side, she's still going to be teaching a class next semester, and she's gonna incorporate some of that stuff. She's just having to combine, like, join forces with Mark Olson in I don't remember what department, but it's Visual Cultures of Medicine.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Also a good class. It's not going to be the medical stories on stage class exactly, but there will be a theater component to it. So there's still, but yeah, it's enrollment is really an issue. So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's sort of disappointing.
I'm sorry. I know. I was disappointed also.
I think another thing is that disability can just refer to so many different things in general. Like it's a medical status, but also like an identity marker. Some people like to affiliate with it or more than others. And I would imagine that like your neurodiversity group maybe the same. Like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is like, there's the pushback from the admin side, of course, but then how do the students also feel about in terms of being like vocal about what they're experiencing? Is it something like, do they just want to kind of keep it within themselves so it can be like a more public about it, I guess?
I think that it's going to be individualized. One of the students who came yesterday actually had met her last spring. She's going to join our committee and is sort of interested in being like kind of the res life and also self-advocate voice on the committee for students. So I think she might be more interested than some of the others. I think everyone's kind of on their own identity formation journey, right? Most of the people, it's been hard to get people to agree to come to a group. My experience with it last year is telling people about the group and then many people saying like, I don't think I really want to go, or maybe I went once and it wasn't really what I wanted. And I think that had to do with several things, but my hope is that they continue to meet and then figure out what they want from the community that they are creating.
I think it's good that it's like a student-led sort of, it can like grow organically from the friendships that they will hopefully be forming.
Yeah.
In the process of having these meetings and getting to know each other, because I think students are the ones like deciding the parameters of the group and what the group is doing, rather than it feeling like some kind of clinical sort of thing that's being imposed, which it's not, right? And so it's I think it's better when it's like
organic.
The students are empowered to just be the ones in charge of what it is and how often they meet and what they do and all that kind of thing.
It's been interesting though, because then they kind of say to me, well, it'd be really helpful if you could just tell us what to do. And I'm like, well, I'll bring food. Yeah. And then you guys talk about whatever, and I probably won't come to your next meeting, but I'll bring you lunch, and I think that was maybe more of like the initial hump to get people to meet each other, but hopefully they're interested. And then, they were open to having other people come, and we'll see. Yeah.
I mean, you can tell them they're welcome to come to these meetings anytime too. Obviously, these are typically student meetings, so yeah. Any other ideas for Tara?
Anyone else?
I wanted to follow up on the event that you mentioned, the film screening.
Yeah.
Is that, so you said February, how wedded to that date are you?
We're not, we don't have anything figured out. We were gonna try to figure out a budget last week and then we couldn't.
Right.
I think if we want to bring the filmmaker to campus, we'll have more parameters on the date.
Okay.
We were also initially thinking about linking it to Autism Awareness Month, and then we realized
Which
that
is April.
It's April,
Yeah.
but there's all these other things happening, and there was 2 dates, but by then you guys are into finals.
Yeah.
Or it's reading week, so that didn't
There's a lot.
make
Yeah.
sense.
There's a lot going on in April.
Yeah, and then March, basketball stuff happens.
I was gonna say, actually, we have Disability Pride Week at the end of March every year. It's like our legacy, right, to this university, is that at the end of March, usually the final week of March, so 2 weeks after spring break. And I feel like if we could somehow, I don't know what the basketball situation is that week, but
I don't either.
Somehow or other that has ended up being Disability Pride Week. I don't know.
Okay, you said the last week of March.
The last week of March.
Okay.
And I don't know when that started. It predates my time here, but for whatever reason, that's the week that we do. And I feel like if we could
it would fit
do it
really
then,
well.
we could join forces in helping plan and organize that. Yeah. We don't have any events on the books yet for that, but as far as I've been saying about all these other student groups coming to us and wanting to collaborate on events, I'm going to start saying to everybody, let's do it during Disability Pride Week, because that sort of allows us to pool our resources and be advertising for multiple things at once, and it just sort of makes it less work than rather than every week it's we gotta get this new event.
One, there's a lot of momentum that can come from if you come to one thing, just
right, and it just means that we have that one really intense week, and then the rest of the semester is sort of just more manageable. So Yeah, so that would
Okay.
be my 2 cents on scheduling. I
Fair
don't
enough.
let us know if that works for
Yeah.
for you. But okay, so do we ask Manish if
Manish is here. Hi, Manish. Sorry to keep you waiting. But,
Oh no, no, it's fine. Can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Well, so I'll preface this just by introducing myself really quickly. I'm Manish. He, him, his pronouns. I'm really sorry that I'm not able to stay for the entire meeting. I'm at brunch with the CSGD. So I'm just stepping out real quick to talk, and then I'll be. I'm gonna try. I will definitely try and make future meetings and stay the entire time. So I do apologize for that. Just I wanted to contribute a little bit to the past conversation I've been hearing. I know you all were talking about courses pertaining to disability and interest. So I'm actually a program 2 student. So my program 2 is it's called Policy and Identity as they affect health outcomes. So it studies how policy influences. Sorry about the train. How policy influences health outcomes for marginalized identity groups, and I had tried to include one of my classes, Dr. Elrod's class. It was called Comparative Disability History,
Yeah.
I think. And I tried to include it in my program too. But Dean Murphy Brown was like, no, you can't do that. I was like, why? But it's because they have to be regularly taught classes. So it can't be a class that's taught once or very infrequently. They want a class that's taught either every semester or once a year. Which is really strange. So there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be done in that regard.
Definitely.
So it's very cool that you all were working on that. And if you need help with your program too, please let me know. I'm more than happy to help. Because I had help with friends. I don't know if you applied or not yet, but more than happy to help and find some pertinent classes because I have some. But yeah, no, please reach out to me. I'm on Facebook and everything. But so really quickly, just on my activism, I guess I work at Duke Center for Sexual and Gender Diversity. I haven't done much activism for people with living with disabilities. I had taken Dr. Elrod's class last semester, and that was definitely it was one of the reasons that I actually decided to do my program too. So I was affected a lot by it. Obviously, there aren't many classes here where I could learn more, and I was kind of disappointed by that. But this project that I've been thinking about was something that's kind of come from that. And I wasn't able to do it last semester because because I got wrapped up in exams and a bunch of other stuff. But I'll just start talking about it now. I had a conversation with Jay, and what I was asking him first was if there was already accessible route mapping on campus, and he told me that there were maps online for outside routes, but internally in buildings that doesn't exist. And I was like, wow, that's so that's we need to fill that gap. So I wanted to see if you all would be open to working on internally mapping buildings, and I don't know what kind of resources exist in terms of accessible routes out on campus outside, in terms of looking at optimizing routes or looking at times or something. But I just wanted to see what their the need was, and to see that if you all would be open to pursuing such a project. Especially because I don't want to go over anyone on this. I don't want to just be oh look at me, I'm doing this on my own. I want to work with you all, and I want to make sure I'm not going over any initiatives that you all are currently pursuing. So if you have any questions, feedback, what do you think about this, or clarification, yeah.
I mean, it's definitely something that Jay has mentioned before in the space of these meetings, and I don't know, I mean, I know that he's sort of taken this semester off from DDA because of how busy he is with a certain computer science class.
Yeah.
But I mean, when he comes back to us, which I hope he will soon, he might be interested in doing this as part of his computer science work. I mean, I've suggested that to him before. So I don't know. I mean, I would recommend talking to him. And we can certainly advertise your project to our membership and post it on Facebook and like all of our followers and everyone and see if there's others who might want to get involved, because it's like it's an interesting like technology challenge in addition to being a disability justice challenge.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of appeal to people who are interested in design and technology and well, not really geography, but
Architect?
yeah, architecture. There's other
Like civil engineering.
yeah, civil engineering. So yeah, I think that it has appeal to lots of students with particular interests. So we can help you advertise. I don't want to speak for the students in this room in terms of their own manpower and ability to commit. So I'll let you guys talk about that. I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, Manish, this is like a really interesting project because it has come up in our conversation in the past, but to be honest, we haven't completely like acted on it. It's always been like, oh, this would be a good thing if it happened.
Yeah.
So there are accessible routes and maps on like the general periphery of campus, like where the accessible entrances are, like on Google Maps and stuff. But yeah, there's nothing like internal in terms of the buildings, and this kind of ties well into an event that we do during Disability Pride Week, which is the Accessibility Matters Day Challenge, where we challenge people to take only accessible routes on campus for a day, which means
I did that last semester.
Yeah,
cool.
Oh, great. So you probably know how hard it is to avoid stairs and only use elevators, especially in dorms. Like some of the freshman dorms don't even have elevators. So it can get pretty difficult in that regard. So I think that's like a great launching pad to go off of in terms of like what to map and also bring administrative attention to it.
Yeah.
In terms of actually going about like mapping it, yes, it's like a great computer science or like engineering project. The only problem is that like computer science and engineering students are so swamped by their own curriculum. Like I know this is an experience that it's hard to like get.
Is there a way they could get course credit for it? Like, is there like a senior capping class where you're allowed to do an independent project and get? Because I find like as a teacher, I find that giving students credit for doing stuff is the only way.
Yeah.
Like if I have an event that I really want good attendance, I have to require my whole class to come, which I don't do more than once a semester, but as you all know. But yeah, like it has to be like something that students get credit for. Otherwise it does kind of take a back burner. Just like how in the past we had students in this club interested in things like, you know, mapping Durham's accessibility and talking about Durham's businesses and making, you know, and then they're just like, oh my God, I'm a Duke student. Like, I don't have time to also be doing this on the side. And that's understandable. You know, you have to prioritize your studies. You're spending a lot of money to be here, and it only makes sense to put that first. So you can think of ways to integrate this into a course. Like maybe you can talk to engineering professors.
Exactly. Finding a professor who would be interested in it, I think would be a great start, because that way it's like if they have a lab
it's like
or
homework
like,
for them.
they can, a student can make like an independent study project out of it. On it. Like I think getting like a professor who's into like cartography on board would be a great place to start and make progress with this project, and also like publicizing it to students. Like we can send it out on our listserv, like putting it on DSG Blast, or also be like a good idea. I guess
like
an idea.
I guess to like start off with, I'll look for like getting interest, and I'll talk to Jay more. I did have a conversation with him. He had asked me to like email you all and talk to you all about it. So like I'll see like what kind of interest there is. Like I do know there are some people who are interested, like that I've reached out to also. And then we'll kind of like go from there. I'm gonna try and like I'll definitely be able to come to the meetings in person like next semester. So like I'll work on like this idea over like winter break and like think of like what steps can be taken like in terms of like concrete initiatives. Also like really quickly, I'm very sorry, but I need to go because they just texted me.
Before you do, I have one really quick thing. I just want you to meet, this is Michaela Curtis, who's here in the meeting. She's working on, so like for the activism side of things, in terms of like raising awareness and like talking about, she's part of a team of 4 students that are doing an activism project for my class on this topic right now.
Oh, wow.
You know, on the topic of physical accessibility, and particularly they're focusing on dorms on East Campus. So
you should all, I'll just email everybody so that you all have each other's
Yeah,
contact
just
info.
really quickly, I actually do have like a lot of data collected on in terms of like accessible routes inside these campus dorms. So I could definitely like send that to you, and I could also like help you out in terms of like map. Like I can't really be much help in terms of like the actual like mapping and creating the maps, but I think finding accessible routes, I think I could, because I have experience.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Cool. Yeah, so please send me like an email, and then we'll like I hope to like talk about this more because I really want to see this through now. So I'm happy you all are supportive. I'm really sorry I need to go.
No,
thank you so much.
At the future meetings. Thank you.
Thank
you.
you.
Look forward to meeting you in person.
Thank you.
That's actually right on time because the next thing that I had on the agenda was just doing like a fall semester reflection and like spring semester goals, kind of looking back on everything that we've done so far, like what went well, how we can improve, what we want to accomplish in the spring. So yeah, just like open forum if there's anything like you guys have noticed or wish that you saw, or if you want to like not speak and like privately, like you can email me or I don't know, leave a sticky note somewhere. So yeah, your thoughts?
I feel like on a positive note that we really reached out to so many groups this semester, which is like if we look at how many groups we reached out to last semester and compare that to this semester, it's like a huge increase, or at least it seems like it, which is good in itself. But something we could improve upon in that regard is, acting upon these new relationships. Like we have a lot of plans, we do have a lot of plans, but they're all like it's somewhat in the future, distant future.
So you're saying, let's make sure we follow through.
Yeah, that's it. But that's very vague. I guess to like make that more concrete, like if I were to say something more immediate that we could do is just like allocate more time to I don't know how. I actually don't know what the exact solution is. I'm trying to think of like a good way to put it, but it's just to have people continuously communicating and then like pushing, not necessarily pushing and like pushing them to do it, but pushing ourselves and to like program things more efficiently and more immediately. So. But again, we're all Duke students. That's a problem, but.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Simon. And I also think it's another like positive thing along the same vein. Like I feel like we've become a little bit more like increased awareness just like of our group and like had other people reach out to us, and also like being part of the CMA alliance has been helpful. I've had at like the last meeting, people have been interested in asking me how they can make their own meetings more accessible and things like that. So that's been really helpful. But yeah, I agree with the one critique, increasing like follow through.
I know I've been guilty of that for sure. Like I've just been like really busy sometimes, and I'm just like, oh, I can't do like much else aside from my classwork. But then sometimes you just gotta tell yourself, okay, I'm dedicating this much time to this project that I'm doing, which is not classwork, and I'll have to work my classwork around that. So, sorry, just some personal reflection there. But
I also think just like in terms of the culture of our activist space, like there are certain things that I've learned from being part of other activist groups that I think we could actually adopt here, such as like sharing appreciation of each other in terms of specific things that we're doing. Like at the end of every meeting, not everyone has to, but the floor is open to people sharing their appreciation of each other and being like, I really appreciate Maddie for the social media work that she's been doing this semester. It's been generating a lot of publicity for our group, and I think that keeping that alive has been really important. And that's just an example of I'm sharing an appreciation. We can all be like, yeah, Maddie. Yeah. And then it's great because like I think that it's like a positive reinforcement, and it's also just like a recognition and a valuing of each other's time and energy and work. And I think that just makes us all want to be better, you know, without guilting or pressuring anybody.
Yeah.
I also think that we should maybe think about having elections for more exec members, because we never did that this semester. And we've had a number of people, like new members, coming to meetings and maybe are interested in taking leadership, and we should give them space too. So I feel like we should like send out an email and say, if you're interested in being on exec, let us know, something like that, so that we can have more people to share the actual work next semester.
Yeah, I let the ball drop on that.
No, it's okay. It's been so busy.
Yeah. And it's just, they're gonna give people an opportunity to also just like join the meeting. So I feel like what I've noticed is that if you give like opportunities to join exec like a little too early, people kind of bounce on it. And, like, hey, leadership. But then I also realized looking back that it also helps to like kind of generate that dedication and like ensure people come. But yeah, before I continue, Michaela, did you have any thoughts? And then since like you're like the new fresh face of this group, you can probably.
I think, I don't know, I think, everything everyone else said is pretty legitimate. Yeah, I don't think I have anything to add.
Okay. And I mean, it's very interesting that you guys brought all of this up, because that is something that I wanted to talk about. I just feel, because I feel like exec like involvement as a whole has like fluctuated a lot this semester, and I'm not trying to attack anyone in any way, shape, or form. Like, I appreciate everyone for taking the time out of their busy schedules to be part of this club, but I do feel like there is a lot of improvement that can be made in terms of just like increasing, like, I don't know, exec turnout at meetings or the events that we host. Like, how do we can really foster a culture where people are more dedicated in their involvement and like want to feel more involved? And I've kind of had to hold back on just kind of like calling people out and be like, hey, you're not showing up to things. And I was like, wait a second, let's try to find out why. And like, as you brought up, like the appreciation at the end of the meetings, like, that's probably a good way to like get people more involved, or stay involved, I guess. But yeah, what are your guys' thoughts? Like, I know work piles up, so like that's why you don't want to show up to meetings sometimes. So like, what is something that would draw you in? Like, should I buy food?
Well, we do actually have a small budget for that kind of thing, and so maybe we should use it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to get Trent involved, but he's usually good when you give him a specific task about doing it, you know, and which I appreciate Trent, you know, for always falling through as treasurer. So maybe just like certain meetings will have food, and that, I don't know, and maybe more of a social component, and just like a space in the agenda where it's not an agenda item. It's like free, open chatting.
I was about to say, like, sometimes I just feel like, as an ally, like a non-disabled person myself, I feel like it's not my place to say, but sometimes I feel like a place in this place in the meeting to just discuss like identity.
Yeah.
It's just kind of cool. Because from your class, which is why I found out about this club, it was just really nice to discuss a little freely, you know, what disability means and like what it implies and et cetera, et cetera. And it's just kind of stimulating, you know. So the intellectual or, you know, identity part is just really.
So do you feel like we should, well, this is a bad idea, but become like a reading group, and you know, even in a way where it's like once or twice a semester we read and discuss an article, or is it just more homework for everybody?
I remember last year, I think it wasn't Jay, someone brought it up. They were like, why don't we just have like, you know, some people from the club can meet for like coffee one day, or just like set up or like, you know, coffee chats or whatever. I don't remember.
That was Jay's idea.
I think it was Jay. Okay, yeah, and
good idea.
I thought that's a great way to stimulate the creation of a community. You know, just like being able to talk about disability as a person. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I
you know,
remember,
again,
like, the-
feasibility is a little different.
Like, I remember the dinner after like our disability like arts event. It
Oh,
was,
yeah.
like, that was I think like the first time we like interacted like socially.
Just like outside of a meeting or event.
Yeah. So that's a good plan.
So if we could hold just more like social stuffs,
Yeah.
that'd be fun.
Community
Just
stuff.
informal, very
Mhm.
I
informal.
think that's great. Yeah, that's really great. I mean, maybe you could structure it next semester so that every other week is an exec meeting and every other week is like an open coffee chat, social kind of thing. And I mean, I don't know if you're gonna have too much work to do to actually have time to make every other meeting like not a work meeting.
Yeah.
But that's how, like, I was in a club in college called Literary Arts Society, and every other week was just a reading. Like, you would just be like, I'm working on these poems and I'm gonna share them with the group.
Oh, that's so nice.
And like there was no agenda, and then the other week would be like the business of event planning and all the other stuff that we would do, and that was really nice community to be part of.
Because I remember like with that we tried that structure last year. It was like every other week was like an exec and then like,
Oh,
the other one was, like, a general body.
Yeah.
But I feel like they just ended up blurring together.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't
Definitely.
really tell the difference between
Yeah.
the exec meeting and the general
Real.
body meeting. So like yeah, maybe more social components to kind of build
Maybe it's about space, like maybe having the coffee chat like in Duke Coffee House or something. Like I've actually never been in there, so I have no idea what that space is like. But you know what I mean? It's like maybe like work meetings are here, and then the other meetings are somewhere where like anyone could literally just turn up. And then you might actually have some passerby traffic, or people who didn't know about it but happened to be there and see it, and they're like, "What is this?" And they might get interested.
Okay.
Trying to think of good places for that.
I don't know, just throwing it out there.
Okay. No, these are good things to discuss, and thank you for the feedback. Yeah, also looking back forward to like spring semester, is there anything in particular that you guys want to see or like want to cut out completely? I don't know.
I want to see that body positivity event with them.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Steph. Yeah. Well, because I think when the last time we discussed it, we talked about how it would be a good idea to push it back to like end of like after rush.
Okay.
So I think that's why it's kind of like been put on the shelf for a little bit, but definitely we'll follow up with that.
So if we're pushing it back, can we push it into Disability Pride Week? Just to condense things?
That's fair. I will ask Steph about it.
Just an idea.
Yeah.
I just feel like I feel like our priority should be building community, and that should feel organic and informal and not like work. And so if we have like less like stuff that feels like work, or if we can like put all the things that feel like work kind of together into one umbrella category, it might feel like a more manageable club to be a part of. And again, that problem of being a Duke student and how overwhelming that is. Because like I know for like someone like Kathy who's on exec and who's really passionate about the cause, but who's rarely actually at meetings, I, like it's because of like
So
band in school, and like, you know, band is a big time commitment. And so it's like, you know, just I guess making it feel more manageable should be kind of a priority, you know. So yeah, if we can cluster events, and then like, because we also have, well, not we, but I'm organizing the Disability and the Disciplines Conference for the end of the semester.
The one
and
with Leonard Davis.
Leonard Davis. Yes. And it's gonna be awesome. And DDA really, I think that I want DDA to be involved. I mean, it's more geared toward faculty, but I want there to be that student-led plenary that I've been telling you guys about, where students with disabilities are on the panel talking to professors and saying like, this is what works for us in the classroom. This is not what works for us in the classroom. This has been good experiences we've had, bad experiences we've had. I respond well to this kind of teaching pedagogy. I respond poorly to that, you know, and just have that open conversation that's completely led by students. And I think we can more or less replicate the structure of our O-Week event, you know, which is really informal. The panelists don't have to prepare anything, but just kind of turn up and chat and have it be like a round table. But it would be a different audience, you know, instead of having this be geared toward incoming freshmen, it would be geared toward the people who teach and run this university, you know, and have actually the power to change things. that's, so if DDA can be helpful in advertising for the event and like letting people know that there's gonna be this student component, you know, that's like our other work thing is like this conference. So I feel like if it's more manageable to feel like, okay, there's Disability Pride Week and there's the conference and that's our spring semester in terms of work stuff, and the rest is just about like having spaces for students to find each other and build community. That's my 2 cents on it.
And in these, like, I think someone mentioned at the beginning of the semester, like, the point of collaboration is that so that all the work falls on us.
Right,
To
exactly.
coordinate all these events, because, like, collaboration
And
is.
that also makes Disability Pride Week easier for us.
Yeah, exactly.
If like someone else is organizing the body positivity thing and we're helping promote and we're going to it and we're part of the conversation, but we're not doing all the paperwork, like all of the like applying to SOFC and all of the coordinating of checks and all the contracts and all the emails and the flights and whatever else, because that is all that tedium is more work than it should be, and it a lot of times falls to like Trent and you and me, you know. So so collaboration is actually a really good thing, and it's a way to reduce the load.
Yeah. Good. Thank you again for the feedback. I promise we will hold elections soon. So we just have about like 5 minutes left. Dan Allison, he's a professor in theater studies. He wasn't able to attend the meeting, but he wanted everyone to know that there is a Arts and Disability Durham Lunch and Learn event on Monday, December 10th from noon to 1:30, and it's at DPAC. I think that it's supposed to have be a conversation about arts and disability in Durham and how you can get more involved in the Durham arts community and or the Durham disability community. It's a free event. Pizza and drinks will be provided. It's on Facebook. I will send the link out in like the recap email. So and
if we can post that again to give more work to Maddie on our social media, that'd be cool, because I know that a lot of our members are really interested in art and performance, and so they might just want to take this up.
Yeah.
That might be a good way to like kind of increase the social aspect. Like we like said, like, hey, we'll all Uber over together and like hang out together a bit.
Yeah. The only problem is this is like during the reading period.
It is, but like
Yeah.
if we could like
So
Future events.
Whoever has time for the study break,
Mhm.
I might be able to make it to that. So put it on my calendar.
I just messaged the event to you so you can.
oh great.
Awesome.
Thanks. I'll do that.
Lunch and Learn.
I like that. Lunch and learn.
It's run by Betsy Ludwig,
Because it sounds like
our good
lunch.
friend from Arts Access.
Great. So any comments, concerns, appreciation?
Appreciation for Deep Tea for running these meetings all semester and keeping us so well organized. Thank you. I know it's a lot of work. So
That's fine. I enjoy it. That's good. But if there's nothing else, then good luck with finals, friends. Hope you enjoy it. I don't know how to study.
is that from
it.
Community?
I don't know, actually. Sure.
Cool. Yeah, and this like splashes of personality that you infuse in all the materials are awesome.
It gives me a chance to procrastinate on Giphy. It's great.
Yeah.
Browsing
Like, I'm
gifts.
making the DDA agenda. I need my time for it. I can't do everything else you need to do.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you everyone for a wonderful semester so far. I'm excited for next semester. But with heads up, the meetings will probably be at like a different time next semester. Just
Send out a when to meet.
Yeah, everyone's schedules. Last couple of semesters, the meetings have usually been on Sundays, or Saturdays, close to mid-morning. Hopefully that will still work for everyone. But yeah, I will send out a one to meet probably like closer to the beginning of spring semester, just so it's on everyone's radar.
Yes.
So yeah.
Great.
Thank you so much. And thank you for everyone who joined online.